What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day, coming right back at you with another great knife. This is the Buck Mesa. It is a hunting knife. It is Buck. It is made in USA. It is awesome. This edge uses a 2XTM technology in their heat treat. How they do this. It is an awesome edge. Overall, we're looking at 9.5 inches with a 5-inch blade, and this linen micarta grip is freaking amazing. Before I get into it, one thing: polypropylene on the sheath. You'll know that word from Cold Steel. They use a lot of polypropylene. Stuff is pretty much indestructible. Great stuff. One of my favorite things, actually two of my favorite things, is it has a tensioner. Love that. And ambidextrous belt loop. You can't ask for anything more than that. That's good stuff. This, however, is what we're really talking about. Made in the USA. It's Buck, and it is 420 HC. It's really well done. It's got a great heat treat on this knife. It does have jimping, but it's the kind of jimping that's almost more decorative. You really have to put your thumb in there to get on that. And being is how it's not on the blade, on the spine, it's almost doesn't really matter. However, they make up for it with this awesome little finger guard. And I'm a big fan of finger guards. If you're not going to have a choil, at least have a finger guard. Really good. They have offset screws, which I really dig. The Sheffield MOD has that. The reason they did it, however, is boom, awesome, genius idea. These guys, I don't know if they do it for the same thing, where it's to keep your hand off the steel, so your fingers aren't on it when it's cold, but that wouldn't make sense because your hand would still be on here. So I don't know if they just do it for decorative purposes or what, but it's really nice. This pattern on the handle is gorgeous. Now I'm going to talk about the pattern real quick because something about this is just wonderful. Not only do you have the finger guard, but you also have the pinky finger guard way down here at the edge. But that's not the awesome part. The awesome part is this. Check out, I'll hold it this way. Look at the shape, right? Look at this flare out. Wow! It is ankles to hips. It is freaking beautiful. And not only is it good looking, but man, when you hold it, this knife goes nowhere in this direction because this freaking swell at the end, not just a palm swell, which is great, and the palm swell goes this way and that way, which is great. I wish more knives were made like that, but this thing is just amazing how it feels. The only thing I don't like about it, because I'm finding a lot of things to love, the only thing that I don't love, but I mean it's okay, is that it's a hollow grind. That makes for a very thin edge. So let's talk about why that matters and why it doesn't matter. This is a hunting knife. If you use this as a survival knife, camp knife, anything like that, and you do chops and you baton with it and things like that, there's a good shot you're going to damage this. It's hollow grind. It's not made to be whacking on something solid. This is a hunting knife. This is made to gut a freaking elk. You know what I mean? It's not made to do tasks like hitting hardwoods and things like that. It is a clip point, and it does have a false edge, which makes this tip very thin. But not batoning. If you try and pry with this, no bueno. There's a good shot you're gonna ruin it. But when you're thinking, oh, hollow grind, oh, thin tip, oh, can't pry, oh, can't hit wood, so what about this blade is so great? Well, check it out. It is absolutely shave sharp. Let me see. Get you guys a bunch of hairs on there. Wow. It is so freaking sharp. Now, I don't have any dead deer or dead bear laying around to show you how to cut into it. So we're just gonna have to be creative and do some other stuff before I leave the rack. Fit and finish, scales are great, screws are great, the binding is great. This is a typical Buck knife. This is a great little knife. Let's test it out a little. All right, telling you it's sharp isn't the same as showing you that it's sharp. So I'm going to show you that it's sharp. Man, that thing didn't go anywhere. A lot of times when I do this to show an edge, the edge is sharp enough to cut through whatever I'm cutting through, but it still pushes and the bottle goes flying somewhere. This stayed right here. This thing is sharp. It is sharp. I mean, I can slice and dice and do anything with this blade, and it's just gonna cut through whatever I put it at, because that's what it's made to do. It's made to skin, and it's made to cut through that meat, you know, and really get it done. So food prep with this, you know, especially out in the woods when you don't have that butcher's block and you can go through your array of knives, this thing right here is all you need to slice and dice and cut open and prep big game. You know, this isn't a small game knife. You could use it on small game. You can choke up on this thing and you can dissect an inchworm, but this thing will handle big game no problem. Let's go play some more. All right, so let's work this edge a little bit more. We're going to come down here and we are going to just shave away some of this bark. And we're not just going to shave away some of this bark. We are going to easily shave away some of this bark. This is prime cutting edge right here. So now what I want to do is I want to take my little edge and very easily we're going to make some curls here. And I'm not going to do a bunch of this. Just look at this. I mean, so fine, so fine. Now, one great thing about the edge, the swell there, that OK grip is so easy to do. I mean, man, this thing is awesome. It is so sharp and so easy to use. I mean, this isn't how you do this task. I'm doing this just to show you that you can do anything any way you want. So now let's say you want to trap some game, you dig a hole around the camp, and you need a bunch of spikes to put in it. This makes very short work of some wood to make some spikes. Game walks by, you have the hole covered, they fall down. You need to do the old, you know, first blood. Did you first blood, not me? Telling you, anything. Ant on the leg. All right, so let's make a little notch. Wow, I just pushed that in and it went in. So far, I have to say that of all the knives I've used so far to make a notch, this is by far and away the best I've ever used to do that. This bit in, I mean, look at the size of that. Normally you could see it, but not like that. So that's the old tent post notch right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the make a Lincoln log notch, you know, for let me turn that around here. Fire engines in the background. That's because this knife is hot. Man, this thing is the single best notcher, that's a word, I've ever used. Notcher, Emily B. Roth, I know you're listening. Notcher, it's a new word. It is incredible. Freaking incredible. If you need to do a Lincoln log type fire, or if you need to build shelter, you understand the importance of a good square notch, and this thing does it easier, faster, and better than any knife I've ever used. That's incredible. I freaking dig it. Let's just throw that down there. And it's not a chopper, right? Ooh, wow, that went in there pretty good. It's not a chopper, and you don't want to be banging this thing against hard woods. But I'm going to show you that if you're careful and you take your time, you can actually do a little bit. So let's do a little bit. All right, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of pallet here, and I just want to do some chops. And I'm not going to go crazy again. I like this knife, and chopping is not what it's made for. And you don't want to abuse a knife. You want to use a knife. And so let's just give it some chops here. Now, for a knife that's not made to chop, I'm going to tell you something. It's chopping. I'm not going crazy. Holy crap, that went in so freaking well. It bit so hard that it pulled it right out of my hand. I'm not going crazy. I'm not swinging hard, but I'm putting enough to make a hole, and it's making a hole. So what I'm saying with this is if you need to chop through a log, a small log, or some kind of wood, you need to knock some down, you can do it. Just understand the limitations, be careful, be slow, right? No point in ruining it if you don't have to. Speaking of chopping, let's see if we can get through this. This is vacuum cleaner hose. It's pretty tough. Let's see. Yeah, get it up here because I'm about to punch the log. I know that. And pretty simple. Pretty simple. Let's check the edge. See if there's any kind of deformations, de-lam, de-anything. It's just de-nice. I'll tell you what. This little knife right here. This little knife is sweet. Remember, it is not in no way, and I highly recommend that you don't baton with it. It is not a batoning knife. This edge is too thin to do what I'm doing. It can't do this at all. So obviously it can. So basically what I just want to show you, I'm not obviously doing a big log, but when it comes down to a dime is an actual it's a currency, right? When you're camping and you need kindling and you need those thin pieces of wood for fire making, I'll tell you what, do not be afraid to use this knife, this Buck Mesa, to go through small pieces of wood. And you notice I'm not killing it and I'm not going crazy. I'm taking my time, I'm batoning, I'm making myself kindling, and it works. The thing works. It does it. So now let's see if we can just get some. Man, it's got some really good bite with that narrow blade. You just don't want to go nuts and break the blade. And I know it's great, and I know it's made well. I know the heat treat on this is great, but it's still a knife. It's still steel, and it's still made for a certain purpose. And you can still break it if you abuse it. So don't abuse it. This knife is fantastic, and if you use it properly, it will last you forever. When I say use it properly, I mean don't hack away at, big hardwoods and stuff like that, and don't pry with it. However, I'm going to do a drop test. We'll see how. Look at the balance in the rear of the scales. It's not pulling the knife around. It's keeping it right where you need it. Right? Let's see how well these scales are tight. Now, I bet the bite is going to be fantastic. Normally, I could lift this. I don't want to lift this because it's a narrow clip point. And oh my gosh, guys, look at the freaking bite. That was here. That was here. You know what this is making me hungry for? Yeah, you do. Let's go throw it. All right, guys, so here we are. And you know what time it is. What's the time? It's time to get ill. All right, so let's throw this. All right, we're going to start with 5 yards because I have faith in it. And it has faith, oh jeepers, in me. I'm gonna do it one more time because I actually really enjoyed that. And There's one of those deals where you stop when you're ahead. No, I'm Donnie B all day. I don't understand stop while I'm ahead. All right. Oh my goodness. The Buck Mesa. Freaking awesome. I love it. Well, here it is, sitting pretty, the Buck Mesa. Just awesome. I love it, man. This is, you know, the Led Zeppelin of 5-inch hunting blades. It is awesome. I actually had fun using this, even though I only did a few things. It's just every single thing I did was done easily. I mean, easily. This blade, the edge is fantastic. I love it. You see that little anchor on there with the B in it for Donnie B all day? Holy crap. I mean, if you see that, you know you're getting a Buck product, and you know it's something that you're going to want to hold on to forever. It's just beautiful. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful blade. The ergonomics of the scales were done so perfectly. I mean, my gigantic hands, it's really hard for me to find comfort in too many knives. I find extreme comfort with this knife. And it seems like it's not a hand size specific. It's just shaped so well that it makes it wonderful to hold. Not much more. I'm not going to just fucking pander on and like an idiot and babble. I'm just going to tell you that this thing is awesome. It's absolutely worth the money, which is not much. I do believe it was under 50. You'll find these on eBay any day, all day. They're just everywhere. This knife is just great to buy. So if you find one, buy one, have it, own it, love it. I'm Donnie B all day, and until next knife.